What's up, everybody? Rothstein here, Betting Public Sports Show. I'm your beloved host, Fame Rothstein, a.k.a. Michael Snackson. Today is Monday, February 2nd, 2026. Please like and subscribe to the video, leave comments, share the video. All right. Last time I came out, I gave you some sports betting over the weekend on Saturday. We were 1-2. Just know that today won't be any sports betting information on there. And also that I'll have something for you Saturday and Sunday. Sunday will be all Super Bowl, okay? But today we're going to talk about somebody who played in the Super Bowl, former NFL player, Cam Newton. Cam Newton, ESPN Sports personality, and has his own podcast, 4th and 1 podcast. Pardon me there. Let me get that coffee in me. But he had a guest on there, something like I don't know, maybe a reverend or some guy who, supposedly dealing with relationships or somehow. He's irrelevant because Cam just basically eclipsed him. Cam Newton came out and said on this podcast with this gentleman, it's Cam's show, Cam's interviewing the guy, and Cam tells him that he has no interest in platonic relationships with women, especially beautiful women. He has no interest in platonic relationships. He's letting you know that when it's on, it's on. If he likes you, he's going for the sex. Now, granted, he never intimated that he would do anything illegal to get to any essays or anything like that. So he's just talking strictly on merit of he has no interest in a platonic relationship with a woman, especially a beautiful woman. He kept saying, I'm not out there to play them games. I'm not out there playing them games. Yeah, well, we're all playing the game. The game of life, the game of getting some sex out of a woman. Skeezing, they used to call it. Holland, we're all playing that game. The thing is, because of course, Cam got a lot of backlash for that. Obvious, a lot of videos from women saying like, hey, this is what we talking about, men not respecting women, and a lot of men even saying like, oh, the Cam sounds stupid. You got to be able to have friends with women and respect them, this, that, and the other. The thing people aren't taking into consideration, I have no problem saying it right here on this show. We all playing that game of trying to, get to a woman and whatnot. Cam Newton just plays with a different rule book. Why? Because he's 6'5", handsome guy. Pause. I'm confident in mine though, but handsome guy, 6'5", built like an Adonis, former pro athlete player. Former pro athlete. Did you ever see that video on some reality show where he with a bunch of castmates? They're on some little water vessel and there's a helicopter floating above, and Cam jumps onto the rails of the helicopter, pulls himself into the helicopter, and screams. Some military guy like, "Young man, stop screaming." I guess that would scare something, or call something. But Cam's an exceptional athlete. So you're talking about a different DNA. And he made $130 million in the NFL. He gets to play with a different rule book. Go look at that old picture of him when he won the Heisman in his shirt and tie. He looks like a distinguished gentleman from a different era. Handsome guy, looks like he's from the 60s, just the way he's so clean cut in his hair. Like Cam gets to play on a different rule book. So, basically with that kind of money, and those type, that type of DNA, he could kind of let it be known, like, I don't want to be your friend, like the old song with I got a man with positive K, if we can't be lovers, then we can't be friends. That's what he's basically saying. And some people are allowed to play on that rule book. You know, FU money and then some, you know. So we can't get mad at Cam without taking that into context. You know, Stephon Diggs, you know, this is how can he have 4 or 5 baby mamas in the same year and they all seem to be okay with it? Plays from a different rule book. He's got money. He's got money. He plays with a different rule book. You know, a lot of times that's a great equalizer. You know, so you got to realize, you know, not everybody gets, us regular Joe Schmoes, 6 feet at best, 2, 3 missed checks from financial ruin, all that type of stuff. Yeah, we got to play by a different rule book. We got to behave and be very modest and humble and whatnot. Guy like Cam Newton, nah. Now, obviously, you want to do that in the eyes of your whatever deity that you subscribe to. All of them tell you to be humble, but some people go by the, I'll deal with that when I get to it. I cross that bridge when I come to it. To each his own. But I'm just saying, with Cam Newton, can't get mad at him. Cannot get mad at him. And, he's got a bunch of baby mamas as it is already. He only got like 7 or 8 kids. He's got a bunch of baby mamas as it is. So he's kind of let that be known. And you can't use that excuse, well, that's what we need fathers in the community. But Cam grew up with both his parents. His dad's a preacher. So you can't use that. Just, you're talking about a guy who knows his value. He knows his worth. And he knows that, hey, if you ain't down for that, there's no need for us to talk. And he can do that. Do you think he has a problem meeting women? He's always been the best athlete, always been, in incredible shape. He's a specimen. Like Gilbert Arenas says, you can't out-train DNA. Cam Newton's that DNA you won't out-train. You'll never out-train that. You'll never be 6'5", 240 pounds, run fast as hell, athletic enough to play quarterback and, run the ball. You'll never out-train that DNA. That's once in a lifetime DNA. And that's why he's able to say, I don't, want to be friends with you. Either we getting it in or we ain't going to be around each other. I'm not going to play these games. Those games he talking about playing is, when guys sit up there and try to be friendly with a woman just because he wants access to her, tries to be like her friend, but ultimately his goal is to fuck. Many of us have done that. Let's stop fronting. Those are the games he's talking about he's not playing. And yeah, he don't have to play those games. He kind of let it be known, like either we getting it in or get away from me. So I guess I appreciate Cam for being so candid. I would like for him to, we would like for him to be a little more smart about that than, not to be so blatant, but hey, but if you're going to be candid, at least he's, just keeping it real, as they say. So what do you think? Think Cam should have came out like that and just been so honest about it? Should he kept it to himself? Or do some men have, do some people in general, men, women, pretty women, whoever, you have a different playbook that you're accessing, a different rule book that you're accessing. Is that true? Or should everybody play under the same rules no matter what? Those questions and more will be answered on the next episode of Soap. Holla at your boy. Peace.